So, I just saw Inland Empire, the final film in director David Lynch's Los Angeles trilogy. To start off this review, let me defer to a clip that sums up my thoughts on this movie perfectly. Inland Empire.
What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, I didn't like Inland Empire. Big surprise. I realized that in my first videos on Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, respectively, I may have committed some unintentional trolling. I made mistakes, and I got caught up in my anger. In my subsequent critiques of these films, I did my best to correct my mistakes and provide much better, more informed analysis of those films. Blue Velvet, while still a bad movie in my opinion, isn't the worst movie I've ever seen, not by a long shot. But I can confidently say that Inland Empire is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Even my good friend Greg, who likes Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, isn't very fond of this film. This film is worse than Mulholland Drive. It's f***ing wretched. I can't even really tell you what it's about. The film follows an actress named Nikki, played by Laura Dern, who acts out a role in a movie, does some disturbing, nonsensical things, and has some disturbing, nonsensical things happen to her. That's it. This is the closest semblance to a plot that we get. Inland Empire is a draining 3 hours long, but it feels like 6 hours. The pacing is unbearably slow and tedious, the characters are hardly developed at all, and the dialogue is mostly cryptic or insipid. So little happens in this movie, and what does happen usually doesn't make sense, isn't very interesting, or has little to no bearing on the rest of the movie. With such a disjointed, fragmented narrative and characters as shallow as dinner plates, it's impossible to invest yourself in the film. The events in Inland Empire feel entirely random, meaning that there is no tension or any sense of the film building up to anything. And the disturbing moments, for the most part, aren't shocking, because the film around them never feels normal or sensible. Little can surprise us if everything is weird. As with Mulholland Drive and, to a lesser extent, Lost Highway, Inland Empire discards plot threads or leaves them hanging without resolution, and the identity of the characters changes without warning. Therefore, there are no consistent plot or character elements for you to hold on to. If you showed Inland Empire to confused Matthew, his head would explode. The entire narrative feels empty and aimless. I watched the entire thing for the sake of integrity, but you could fast forward the movie and not miss anything important, or understand it any less. Above all, Inland Empire is just so dull. Is there anything I like about the film? Yes, a couple of things. The performances are generally pretty good, and Jeremy Irons is fun and charismatic as Nikki's director Kingsley. I like the moody, foreboding music, and the film is nicely shot. But you know what? I gave that same praise to Tommy Wiseau's hilariously bad cult classic, The Room. And Inland Empire is worse. Sure, The Room also has several plot threads and even characters that the film brings up and then abruptly ignores, but at least The Room has a central plot and a clear focus that are maintained for the entire running time. Inland Empire does not. The narrative just meanders about and doesn't linger for very long on anything. Simply put, Inland Empire is not engaging. This movie sucks. It's boring, empty, lifeless, fragmented, and hellishly dull, and I'm baffled by the fact that it has such a fan base. Inland Empire is David Lynch's worst film by far. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and earns 1 star out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.